The jargon, understood you might say, the code.
You're like, I've dealt with this before. I know how to play this role.
Yeah, but a lot of them are funny. You see what I mean?
Well, they took you to play golf.
Yeah, and they did.
What happens when two of Hollywood's biggest stars clash behind closed doors? Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis shared unforgettable on-screen moments, but their off-screen drama made headlines around the world. The tension reached its peak when Stallone fired off a tweet calling Willis greedy and lazy. For years, fans speculated about what really happened between the two icons. Now, Stallone is finally revealing the truth. Sylvester Stallone's life began in one of the toughest neighborhoods in New York City, Hell's Kitchen. Born on July 6, 1946, his arrival into the world was anything but ordinary. During his birth, complications forced doctors to use forceps, which accidentally severed a facial nerve. This mistake left Stallone with a drooping lip, partial paralysis in his face, and slurred speech, traits that would later become his trademark. But as a child, these differences made him a target. He faced constant bullying, cruel comments about his appearance, and even taunts about his intelligence.
Told your parents what you want to do is be an actor. Did they say get a real job or something like that?
Well, that's the line.
At one point, he was told his brain was dormant, a crushing label for a young boy trying to find his place. Stallone's early years were turbulent. His parents, Jackie and Frank Stallone, divorced when he was just 11, throwing his life into chaos. He was shuffled between his father in Maryland and his mother, who had remarried in Philadelphia. This instability left Stallone without a true sense of home, and he often acted out. His behavior spiraled out of control, leading to a record 14 expulsions from various schools by the age of 15. Teachers gave up on him, with some even voting him most likely to end up in the electric chair. It was a cruel judgment that reflected how far off track his life seemed at the time. At 19 years old, Sylvester Stallone's life seemed to be heading nowhere. He had struggled in school, faced constant setbacks, and was unsure of his future. But in September 1965, everything changed. Stallone found himself at the American College of Switzerland, a small school surrounded by the stunning Swiss Alps. This new environment would become the turning point in his life, shaping the person who would one day become a Hollywood legend. In Switzerland, Stallone's passion for acting was born. During his 2 years at the college, he studied drama and took on odd jobs around campus to support himself. He worked as a gym teacher, a dorm bouncer, and even sold hamburgers to his fellow students. The real breakthrough came when Stallone auditioned for a campus production of Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. He landed a role, and his performance caught the eye of a visiting Harvard professor. After the play, the professor approached Stallone and said, "You should think of this as a career." Those words were life-changing. For the first time, Stallone realized acting could be more than just a hobby. It could be his future. By the time Stallone left Switzerland in June 1967, he was no longer the aimless young man who had arrived 2 years earlier. He had discovered his purpose and returned to the United States ready to pursue his dreams. He enrolled in the University of Miami to study drama, determined to keep building on what he had started in Switzerland. Though he left the university a few credits short of graduation, his time there helped him prepare for the next big step, chasing his acting dreams in New York City. However, his Hollywood success began with hardship and despair. In the early 1970s, he was at his lowest point, struggling to survive in New York City. Homeless and with no place to go, Stallone spent 3 weeks sleeping in the Port Authority bus terminal. Evicted from his apartment and left with just $106 in his bank account, Stallone took on any job he could find. He worked as a movie theater usher and even cleaned lion cages at the Central Park Zoo for $1.12 an hour. These jobs barely kept him afloat, but gave him experiences he would later draw upon for his roles. Despite his struggles, Stallone remained determined. He auditioned tirelessly, only to face rejection after rejection. In a particularly painful moment, he was even turned down for an extra role in The Godfather. "I couldn't even get cast as an Italian," Stallone said later. "If there's one movie I should have been in, it was The Godfather." But they said no. Desperation led Stallone to an unusual first role. In 1970, he starred in a low-budget soft-core pornographic film called The Party at Kitty and Studs. For 2 days of work, he earned $200, a much-needed lifeline at the time.
Hi, I'm Gail Palmer. I just spent 30 days in the dark with a man that's in every woman's dream. This guy here, Sylvester Stallone. I've been hired by Stallion Releasing Company.
The film, made on a tiny $5,000 budget, featured Stallone as Stud, a character involved in a wild party that devolves into explicit scenes. While the film's dialogue lacked the depth of Stallone's later projects, it was a stepping stone for the struggling actor. After his unconventional debut, Stallone began landing small roles in mainstream films. But that was not enough. Stallone's life took a dramatic turn on March 24, 1975, when he watched a heavyweight boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. Wepner, an underdog, managed to knock down Ali before ultimately losing. This fight inspired Stallone, who saw a powerful metaphor for life in Wepner's determination. The idea became the foundation for Rocky Balboa, a character who would change Stallone's life forever. Fueled by inspiration, Stallone wrote the first draft of Rocky in just 3.5 days. He later explained that he was driven by a chance he couldn't afford to lose. At the time, he had only $106 in his bank account, but he believed in his vision. Producers quickly showed interest in the script, offering as much as $350,000, a fortune for Stallone, especially given his financial struggles. But there was one problem. Stallone insisted on playing the lead role. Despite the massive offer, he refused to sell the screenplay unless he was cast as Rocky Balboa. Producers Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff finally agreed to let Stallone star, but there were compromises. The film's budget was slashed to just $1 million, and Stallone would earn only $35,000 for both writing and acting. It was a huge gamble for everyone involved, but it would soon prove to be a decision that changed Hollywood history. The challenges didn't end there. With only $960,000 to work with, the production had to be incredibly resourceful. The film was shot in just 28 days, and many iconic moments were born out of necessity. For example, the scene where Rocky jogs alongside Adrian was improvised when they couldn't afford extras for the ice skating rink. When Rocky hit theaters on December 3, 1976, it became an unexpected phenomenon. The film grossed $225 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of the year. Audiences connected with its heartfelt story and Stallone's powerful performance. Critics praised the film's sincerity and raw emotion. The success of Rocky reached its peak at the 49th Academy Awards on March 28, 1977. The film received 10 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. It faced tough competition from acclaimed films like Taxi Driver and All the President's Men. But in a true underdog moment, Rocky won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture. Stallone, just 30 years old, made history as the third person ever to be nominated for both Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay for the same film, joining legends like Charlie Chaplin and Orson Welles. The success of Rocky turned it into one of the most enduring franchises in film history. Over nearly 5 decades, the series has grown to include 6 direct sequels and 2 spin-off films in the Creed series. Rocky II, 1979, and Rocky III, 1982, carried the torch well, expanding on the themes of determination and resilience while introducing new challenges for Rocky. These films deepened the character's journey and kept audiences invested. Then came Rocky IV, 1985, which became the franchise's highest-grossing entry, earning $300 million worldwide. Its story of Rocky taking on Soviet boxer Ivan Drago turned the movie into a cultural phenomenon, tapping into the Cold War tensions of the 1980s. Despite its mixed critical reception, it remains one of the most iconic films in the series. However, the franchise hit a low point with Rocky V, 1990. The movie shifted focus to Rocky's financial struggles and his mentorship of a young boxer, which failed to resonate with audiences. It strayed too far from what made the earlier films successful, earning only $40 million domestically. Many fans felt the series had lost its way, and some even thought this was the end of Rocky's story. Stallone's career has been a mix of incredible highs and challenging lows, shaped by risks, reinvention, and an unwavering determination to succeed. One of his most famous roles, John Rambo in First Blood, almost didn't happen. Stallone was far from the first choice. 10 other actors turned it down. Even after filming, Stallone thought the movie was a disaster. The original cut was 3 hours long, with long, awkward scenes of him running through the woods and saying lines that made him cringe. Stallone even tried to buy the film so he could destroy it. Instead, he suggested cutting most of his dialogue. This idea, meant to save the movie, turned Rambo into the silent, intense character fans love today. The film went on to earn $125 million worldwide, launching a franchise and making Stallone a superstar. This success gave Stallone a new focus. He realized action movies could reach people everywhere. He built his career around visually driven performances, creating characters that didn't rely on language to be understood. This made him a global star, filling the space left by older action icons like Steve McQueen. After Rambo, Stallone kept pushing himself with movies like Cliffhanger, 1993. In this film, he played a mountain rescue ranger battling thieves in the Rocky Mountains. The movie included one of the most expensive stunts ever filmed, with a man transferring between two planes 15,000 feet in the air. The stunt alone cost $1 million. Despite huge challenges, the movie made $255 million worldwide and became a major hit. Stallone also found success in Demolition Man, where he starred alongside Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock in a futuristic action comedy. The film mixed action with humor and earned $159 million. But Stallone wasn't just about action. In Copland, he played a hearing-impaired sheriff in a small town. For the role, he gained 40 pounds and showed a more dramatic side of his acting. Critics praised his performance, proving he could do more than just action-packed roles. However, the late 1990s and early 2000s were tough for Stallone. Films like Judge Dredd, Get Carter, and Driven failed to impress audiences. Many of these movies lost money, and Stallone stepped away from acting for a few years. During this time, his attempts to open a restaurant and a nightclub also failed. These setbacks earned him harsh criticism, but Stallone didn't give up. In 2006, he made a huge comeback with Rocky Balboa, the sixth film in the Rocky series. At 60 years old, Stallone wrote, directed, and starred in the movie. Fans loved it, and the film earned $155 million worldwide. Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis shared a friendship that began in the late 1980s, during the height of their action movie careers. Their bond grew stronger in 1991 when they partnered with Arnold Schwarzenegger to launch Planet Hollywood, a restaurant chain celebrating Hollywood's glitz. This business venture was more than just a project. It cemented their off-screen relationship and hinted at future collaborations. Fans of both actors waited eagerly for them to team up in a major film. A dream that started to take shape when Willis made a brief cameo in Stallone's Copland in 1996. Although his role was small, it fueled speculation about a full-length movie featuring the two action icons. The much-anticipated collaboration finally happened with the Expendables franchise. Stallone conceived the series as a tribute to the action-packed films of the 1980s and 1990s, bringing together legends like Willis, Schwarzenegger, and himself. Willis played Mr. Church, a mysterious CIA operative who hires Stallone's team for a dangerous mission. Though his appearance in the first film in 2010 was limited to a single scene, it became instantly iconic. Stallone later shared that the church scene, featuring himself, Willis, and Schwarzenegger, took 7 hours to shoot due to its complexity. Willis returned in The Expendables 2 in 2012 with an expanded role. His character had about 15 minutes of screen time, participating in action scenes alongside Stallone. The film was a global hit, grossing $315 million, with critics praising the larger roles of Willis and Schwarzenegger as highlights. For fans, this felt like the ultimate action movie reunion. However, things took a sharp turn during the pre-production of The Expendables 3 in 2013. Willis was offered $3 million for 4 days of work on location in Bulgaria, but he countered with a demand for $4 million, $1 million per day. This demand created tension, especially as the film already had a $100 million budget, higher than the earlier installments. Stallone and the producers gave Willis a 72-hour deadline to accept the original offer. When he refused, they decided to replace him. The fallout became public in a shocking way. On August 6, 2013, Stallone posted a blunt tweet: "Willis out, Harrison Ford in, great news, been waiting years for this." Minutes later, he followed up with an even more pointed message: "Greedy and lazy. A sure formula for career failure." Though Stallone didn't name Willis directly, the target was clear. Fans and industry insiders were stunned. The tweets spread rapidly, with thousands of retweets within hours, turning the situation into one of the most talked-about Hollywood feuds of the year. Insiders close to the production revealed that Willis had been surprised by how quickly he was replaced by Harrison Ford. One source commented, "Harrison Ford is a better actor, a much nicer person, and brings something new to the film." Stallone's public remarks, coupled with Willis's abrupt exit, marked the end of a long-standing collaboration and friendship. After years of tension following their public fallout over The Expendables, Stallone surprised fans by publicly apologizing. In an interview, he expressed regret for his harsh words, admitting, "It sounded like it got personal, and I'm sorry it did sound that way." He praised Willis as a great actor, acknowledging his talent and the massive success of his films. This apology marked a new chapter in their relationship. On September 17, 2019, Stallone solidified the reconciliation by posting a photo with Willis on Instagram. He captioned it, "Made up with Bruce W., a stand-up guy, my mistake." The post quickly went viral, earning over 500,000 likes in just 2 days. Fans celebrated the renewed bond between the two action stars, turning a once-heated feud into a touching moment of camaraderie. However, this reunion was soon overshadowed by heartbreaking news. On March 30th, 2022, Bruce Willis's family announced his retirement from acting due to a diagnosis of aphasia, a cognitive disorder that affects communication. The announcement shocked the world, marking the end of a 4-decade career that made Willis one of Hollywood's most beloved action stars. In hindsight, signs of his declining health had been apparent. Colleagues on recent film sets revealed their concerns about his struggles. Some noted his difficulty remembering lines, while others recalled his challenges with physical scenes. Director Mike Burns, who worked with Willis on Out of Death in 2020, shared that after one day of filming, it became clear that something was wrong. Burns was asked to shorten Willis's lines to accommodate his condition. Willis's retirement left a void in Hollywood. Over the years, he had starred in more than 100 films, from Die Hard to The Sixth Sense, cementing his legacy as a versatile and iconic actor. His departure also sparked deeper conversations about the challenges aging actors face and the personal toll of health struggles. In November 2022, Stallone opened up about Willis's condition, offering a glimpse into his friend's current life. In an emotional interview, he described how deeply the situation had affected him. "Bruce is going through some really difficult times," Stallone shared. "So he's been sort of incommunicado. That kills me. It's so sad." His words painted a picture of the devastating effects of aphasia, not only on Willis, but also on those close to him. Stallone's inability to stay in touch with his old friend clearly weighed heavily on him. This heartbreaking update underscored how far their relationship had come. What once was a feud over movie contracts now seemed trivial compared to the reality of Willis's condition. Stallone's sorrow highlighted the enduring bond between the two stars, reminding fans that some connections transcend fame and past disagreements. It was a poignant moment, showing the importance of cherishing relationships while we can, especially in the face of life's unpredictable challenges.